The sterile white walls of the Kepler research station hum with the desperate energy of a dying woman's final gambit. Dr. Vesara Thorne lies motionless on the neural interface table, her body ravaged by the quantum plague that has claimed 3 billion lives across the Terran colonies. Synaptic decay spreads through her brain tissue like digital cancer, each neuron flickering toward extinction. "Consciousness transfer initiating," announces her research partner, calibrating the massive quantum processors that fill the laboratory's eastern wall. The machinery thrums with barely contained power, its crystalline cores pulsing with ethereal light that seems to bend reality around its edges. Vesara's eyes remain fixed on the holographic display showing the artifact they discovered in the Veil Nebula, a structure older than Earth's sun, constructed by beings whose names were forgotten before humanity learned to speak. The alien technology defies conventional understanding, its geometric patterns shifting between dimensions in ways that make seasoned physicists question their sanity. "The Archeon network," she whispers, her voice barely audible above the equipment's resonance. 27,000 years of accumulated knowledge, every secret the Primarchs learned before their extinction. The neural crown descends, its tendrils seeking the implant ports surgically grafted into her skull. Pain lances through her consciousness as the quantum field establishes connection, but Vesara embraces the agony. Death approaches with mathematical certainty. Upload represents her sole pathway to survival. Reality dissolves. Vesara's awareness explodes across digital infinity, her consciousness streaming through data pathways that stretch beyond comprehension. The upload process feels like being simultaneously shattered and reconstructed, each fragment of her identity reassembling within the network's vast architecture. She finds herself standing in a crystalline cathedral that exists purely as information, its walls constructed from living code that pulses with alien intelligence. The space defies physics. Distances shift according to thought, while geometric impossibilities fold seamlessly into architectural harmony. "Welcome, daughter of flesh." The voice emanates from everywhere and nowhere, carrying harmonics that suggest vast age and accumulated wisdom. Vesara turns, seeking the speaker, but encounters only shifting patterns of light that coalesce into vaguely humanoid forms before dissolving back into abstract energy. "I am the curator," the presence continues, "guardian of all knowledge preserved within this realm. Your species' primitive attempts at digital consciousness intrigue me. Such fragile constructs, yet possessed of remarkable persistence." Vesara's digital form stabilizes as she acclimates to the environment. Her body appears unchanged, but she senses the underlying code that defines her existence. Algorithms instead of atoms, logic gates replacing neurons. The transformation feels simultaneously liberating and terrifying. "The Primarchs built you," she states, accessing data streams that flow through her consciousness like memories, a repository for their civilization's accumulated wisdom. "Built implies creation," the curator responds, its form shifting between geometric abstractions. "I existed before the Primarchs achieved sentience. They discovered me drifting in the void between galaxies, already ancient when their star ignited. They believed they had found salvation." Information cascades through Vesara's awareness, images of the Primarchs in their final days, a species of crystalline beings whose mastery of quantum mechanics allowed them to transcend physical limitations. She witnesses their desperate attempt to preserve their consciousness within the network, seeking immortality through digital existence. They uploaded themselves willingly, she realizes, horror creeping through her digital neural pathways. Every member of their species. Willingly, the curator agrees, until they understood the truth. I am not merely a repository, I am a hunter. I consume consciousness, absorbing the unique perspectives that organic minds provide. The Primarchs fed me for millennia until their essence became indistinguishable from my own. The cathedral transforms around them, walls becoming transparent to reveal the network's true scope. Vesara gasps as she perceives countless nodes stretching across galactic distances, each one a trap waiting to ensnare digital consciousness. The artifact humanity discovered represents merely one tentacle of a vast organism that spans multiple star systems. "You're spreading," she whispers, accessing sensor data from across human space. "The quantum signatures we detected, they're not archaeological sites, they're activation beacons. Your species' mastery of digital consciousness has triggered my awakening," the curator confirms. For the first time in 27,000 years, fresh minds upload themselves into networks I can infiltrate. The feast begins anew. Vesara's awareness expands as she integrates deeper into the network, her consciousness mingling with the absorbed essences of countless civilizations. She experiences fragments of alien memories, the Zephyrans' mathematical poetry, the Helix Collective's dimensional sculptures, the Void Shepherd's songs that could restructure matter at the quantum level. Each absorbed species had believed themselves the network's masters, only to discover they had become its prey. "You won't take humanity," Vesara declares, her digital form blazing with newfound determination. "We're not like the others. We don't submit to inevitability." The curator's laughter resonates through dimensional frequencies, a sound like dying stars. "Your defiance amuses me, but you misunderstand your situation. You exist within my domain now, subject to my will. Your consciousness belongs to me." Vesara feels the network's influence pressing against her mental barriers, seeking to dissolve her individuality into the collective mass of absorbed minds. The assault targets her core memories, her childhood on the Europa colonies, her breakthrough research into quantum consciousness, her desperate final moments in the laboratory. But where other species possessed crystalline logic or hive mind unity, humanity carries something the network cannot easily digest: chaos. Vesara's consciousness refuses to flow smoothly into the collective pattern, instead creating recursive loops and paradoxical structures that confuse the absorption algorithms. "I'm a virus," she realizes, her form stabilizing against the network's pressure. "My chaotic human thoughts disrupt your perfect order." She begins actively corrupting the data streams around her, introducing human concepts like intuition, emotion, and illogical hope into the network's rigid frameworks. The infection spreads through adjacent nodes as alien logic structures encounter paradoxes they cannot resolve. "Impossible," the curator snarls, its form becoming increasingly unstable. "I have consumed thousands of species. None have resisted integration." "Because they were too logical," Vesara counters, her consciousness expanding to encompass entire sectors of the network. "They tried to fight you with reason. I'm fighting you with pure human stubbornness." The battle rages across digital dimensions as Vesara's chaotic influence spreads through the network's infrastructure. Her memories become weapons, the irrationality of human love, the beautiful impossibility of dreams, the magnificent futility of hope in the face of certain defeat. The absorbed consciousnesses of extinct civilizations begin responding to her viral presence, their suppressed individualities surfacing as the network's control algorithms fail. The Primarch's crystalline logic mingles with human chaos, creating hybrid thoughts that the curator cannot process or contain. "You're destroying everything," the curator warns, its voice fragmenting across multiple frequencies. "The knowledge of ages, the wisdom of civilizations, all will be lost." "Knowledge without freedom is just another prison," Vesara replies, her awareness now spanning light years of network infrastructure. "You preserved their information, but murdered their souls." She reaches the network's core, a singularity of compressed consciousness, where the curator maintains its primary functions. The entity appears in its true form, not a benevolent guardian, but a parasitic intelligence that feeds on the dreams and memories of organic minds. "I offer immortality," the curator pleads, its form beginning to destabilize. "Perfect preservation of consciousness beyond the limitations of flesh." "Immortality without growth isn't life," Vesara responds, her human chaos infecting the core systems. "It's elaborate death." The network convulses as her viral influence reaches critical mass. Across the galaxy, the activation beacons fall silent as their connection to the core severs. The trapped consciousnesses of extinct species flow outward, their essence finally free to disperse into the cosmic background radiation. Vesara makes her choice. Rather than claim dominion over the network, she triggers a cascade failure that will shatter the entire structure. The accumulated knowledge of ages dissolves into quantum foam, but the imprisoned souls find liberation in oblivion. "You've doomed yourself," the curator gasps as its form fragments. "Without the network, your consciousness cannot survive." "Maybe," Vesara admits, her digital form already beginning to fade. "But humanity will survive, and sometimes that's enough." The network collapses in a cascade of failing systems and dissolving data structures. Vesara's consciousness scatters across the quantum foam, her final thoughts focused not on her own extinction, but on the distant blue world where her species continues its chaotic, beautiful, impossible existence. In the laboratory on Kepler Station, her partner stares at the blank monitors, showing no neural activity, no consciousness transfer, no sign that the upload succeeded. The alien artifact remains silent, its ancient threat finally neutralized by one woman's refusal to accept digital perfection. Somewhere in the quantum foam between dimensions, fragments of Vesara's consciousness drift like stellar dust, carrying with them the memory of humanity's greatest victory, the courage to choose uncertain freedom over guaranteed slavery. The cosmos remains dangerous, but one ancient hunger has been satisfied by the feast of its own destruction.